corporations controlling our free country? Filmmaking by accountants? Admiral Crunch? Corporations are weird. So my executive producer did a paper on the many forms of bias, and one of its major focal points being how it influenced politics over the years. So he asked his teacher if I could do a little video on the multimedia titans mentioned within the paper, and he gave his blessing. Now, we're only going to talk about the big boys here, so no Capcom rant this time around. But a shameless boy stood near Plug and told me of a certain YouTube channel you can subscribe to if you want to be filled in on all the deets. Now that that's out of the way, let's dig into Viacom, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world. Now don't get me wrong, Legend of Korra is awesome, terrific, and Ninja Turtles can be quite a profitable brand. In the right hands. Viacom's hands are so wrong, we are willing to call it the anti-Disney. An anti-Semitic corporation built on broken dreams and repetitive stereotypes. Hell, they're even making stereotypes of stereotypes! Now, we've all seen how Viacom has hypnotized children into becoming stereotypes through SpongeBob SquarePants and God knows how many other shows. But did you know that BET is nothing but gospel, soul train, and blaxploitation sitcoms because they don't think the blackies are smart enough to handle complex programming?
That's racist!
But the biggest dick move of all, which crossed the moral event horizon for me, and had resulted in many a small cable company dropping its channels like a bad habit, as well as DirecTV for about 10 days. Before swallowing its pride and bringing them back thanks to Viacom busting out an aggressive ad campaign.
Like the end of civilization.
DirecTV, I demand a Rupology!
No! We demand a Rupology, you lying sack of cheese farts! And for what? A radical amount of money passed off as, get this, a discount? That has to be paid by the companies in order to renew their contracts with them so that Viacom can buy Channel 5. A British channel from the United Kingdom. A network many British people agree that it is utter rubbish, and yet here we are, acknowledging its existence, because it gave us the reality show Big Brother. With reality TV being the craptacular, fakeified, turtleified opposite of storytelling. Viacom screwed over cable providers to get the worst British channel ever! But there is one key ingredient in all this, and that's content. And a major way we factor this in is through, what else? Mathematics! And it's through mathematics that we're going to understand how the big boys like Viacom ended up as big as they are today, and therefore can influence its audience any way it goddamn pleases. Flashback to the 1980s, and already we have find ourselves with a plethora of media gods and goddesses, 50 in all. But then our old pal the 90s showed up and made like the Hunger Games on some of them. To make a long story short, mergers and acquisitions came and went, dropping the company count to just about 30, which would later be whittled down to the 6 we know and obey mindlessly today by the time the new millennium rolled in. Of course there's... Yeah. But there's also Fox, Sony, Comcast, Time Warner, and Disney. The latter two have quite a bit of history together, duking it out in short films in the 50s, feature tunes in the 90s, and live-action comic book pictures in the near now. Of course, there are some differences in terms of its mentalities, Disney being all high and mighty with its ham-fisted values and all that, while Time Warner, or rather Turner Broadcasting, which they acquired around the same time as Disney gobbled up ABC in 1996, trying whatever new things it could find to see what would stick, acting as that smooth jazz alternative feel to Disney's more classical approach. Though, to be fair, unintentional spin-off company DreamWorks seem to have taken that proverbial jazz crown as of late. And speaking of spin-offs, did you know that MTV Networks and with it Nickelodeon were once owned by Time Warner back when it was controlled by, wait for it, American Express? That's right, folks, Nick was owned by a freaking credit card company, could you believe that? And then they sold it to Viacom for no apparent reason, and the rest was children's television history. I, for one, am glad they let go of MTV networks, because if they held on to them, who knows how different the media scene might have been, especially in the kids' TV department. Meanwhile, in the cable business, Comcast has purchased the cable company Time Warner had also spun off for no reason. To make sure this video has a happy ending, I'm gonna sit right here, toss the topic over to the side, and eat some Archduke Chocula. I'm Thin Crust, and I don't want to be sued, Movie Bob.